Hello and welcome to video 7 in this mini crash course on the basics of music theory. In this video, we'll be going through the major and minor chord formulas, Roman numeral analysis, and 3 common chord progressions. So let's first start with chords and scales. There is a formula to find out what notes create a major, minor or diminished chord in any given scale. The formula for finding the prefixes for chords in any given scale is as follows. Let's start with major scales. Each note has a corresponding number to it, as we've mentioned with the circle of thirds. This means that when each corresponding number acts as a root note in a chord, the formula will show you what prefix to add. So here's the major scale chord formula. The first note in the scale will be a major chord. The second will be a minor chord as well as the third. Fourth and fifth will both be major chords. Sixth a minor chord and seventh a diminished chord. So in the example, we've chosen the A major scale, which contains notes A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp and G sharp. So here we have A as a major chord, B as a minor chord, C sharp as a minor chord, D and E as both as major chords, F sharp as a minor chord, and lastly G sharp as our diminished chord. And then we can check out the circle of thirds and write down the next 2 consecutive notes in the circle, and we have our chords done. Now let's go to the minor scale chord formula. As you've already learned from the circle of fifths and from relative keys, the relative minor scales follow their relative major scales, however start from the 6th note. So the 6th note in the major scale formula is a minor. The 7th is a diminished, and this would be the minor scale's first and second chord. Here's the minor scale chord formula. Our first chord will be a minor, our second chord will be a diminished, third will be a major, fourth and fifth both minors, and sixth and seventh both major chord. So I've chosen F sharp minor scale as our example, as it's the relative minor of A major. So we can see that each note still has the same chord prefix. The only change is the order. So F sharp is still a minor chord and G sharp is still a diminished chord, and so on. Therefore, by understanding the notes in a scale, the circle of thirds, and the formulas for adding the prefixes for major and minor chords, you can gather all the information you need to make music. Right, so now we understand the basics of chords and their position in a scale. How exactly do we make music with them? Well, we make a chord progression. So let's move on to chord progressions. A chord progression is a series of chords played in a sequence and repeated. The chords in a progression represent different harmonic functions similar to scale degrees. It takes your listeners on a journey, making them feel the ups and downs and feel the tension build and release. The tonic chord, using the first note in the scale, always provides stability to a piece of music, and is usually the first chord used in a progression, and is often referred back to and is ended with. So think of it as your home chord. Now let's move on to the Roman numeral analysis for chords. Chords follow a Roman numerical pattern. So each chord from a scale has a Roman numeral attached to it, similar to attaching numbers for the scale degrees. These start at number 1 and finish at 7, but using Roman numerals. So major chords are capitalized, and minor chords are in lowercase, and diminished chords are also in lowercase, however with a diminished symbol. So the major scale Roman numerals is a uppercase 1, lowercase 2, lowercase 3, uppercase 4 and 5, and a lowercase 6 and 7, with the 7 having the diminished symbol. And the minor scale Roman numerals is a lowercase 1, a lowercase 2 with a diminished symbol, uppercase 3, lowercase 4 and 5, and an uppercase 6 and 7. So these numbers represent its relationship with the tonal chord in the piece of music. So let's go through some examples to demonstrate this. And to demonstrate this, we'll use the most common chord progressions. In Western music, we have a few common chord progressions which are used. So the first one we'll look at is the 1-4-5 chord progression. Now this has a sense of anticipation and open-endedness as you're going up the scale and getting further away from your tonic chord. It also has a strong sense of resolution when the 5th chord is followed by the tonic chord. Now if you're playing in the major scale, all of your chords will be major, giving a sense of uplifting happiness. However, if you're playing in a minor scale, all of your chords will be a minor, giving a sense of growing or increasing sadness. So let's listen to the A minor 1-4-5 chord progression. Our second common chord progression is the 1-6-4-5. Now it has a similar resolution feeling similar to the 1-4-5 chord progression. However, adding the 6th chord after the tonic adds an element of brightness to the chord progression. Now if you're in a major scale, the 6th chord will be a minor chord. If you're in a minor scale, the 6th chord will be a major chord. So let's listen to the A major 1-6-4-5 chord progression. Our third common chord progression is the 1-5-6-4. Now this chord progression has the same chords as our second example, however the order has been slightly rearranged. So let's listen to the A major 1-5-6-4 chord progression. Now there are many combinations you can make with just these 4 chords alone, such as 1-4-5-6, 1-4-6-5. You can also repeat chords over again, such as 1-4-1-5 or 1-6-1-6. All you have to do is remember is that music is always about experimentation and exploration. However, if you are a beginner, experimenting with these 4 chords alone in a progression is perfect. So there we have it. This mini crash course has come to an end. And I know it's a lot to learn to begin with, and it can be daunting remembering a lot of new information. So what's the next step now? Well, now you've learned the basics, what can you do next? Well, if you've enjoyed learning about music theory and have a solid grasp on all the information from this beginner's guide, then why stop there? There are so many more aspects of music theory to learn about, such as reading and writing sheet music, music modes, there's even more chord prefixes, inversions, more scales and emotions. But either way, you can start making music now. So if you want to make some sweet music, just do the following. Choose a major or minor key, depending on the mood of your song. Find the notes in the scale to create a melody. And lastly, create some chords and put together a common chord progression. that best suits the mood. And then finally, go on a musical journey of self-expression. And I hope from this you can go on to make some great and awesome music. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a beautiful thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you do have any questions at all, just leave them in the comment section below.